All right, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. You guys can say good afternoon? No? Yeah. Oh, wow. I thought it was an empty room for a second there. Yeah, good afternoon. I'll be moderating the program this afternoon. My name is Sandre Roden, Sandre with an accent over the E. It looks missing on this program, but I will talk to those who printed the program a little later. Now, we have a couple of things to talk about this afternoon, and this is a very important initiative that we're here to talk about. It's Talk Your Mind. Can you say it with me after three? One, two, three. Talk. All right. So it is the counseling support system for tourism workers, and that is something absolutely important when we look at what has happened over the past 2 years with the COVID-19 pandemic. Yes, we see where the Ministry of Tourism, along with the Tourism Enhancement Fund and the University of the West Indies, through the various departments, and I want to ensure I list them properly: the Department of Sociology, Psychology, and Social Work, the Department of Community Health and Psychiatry, and those departments have worked along with the ministry to come up with this beautiful program to aid tourism workers. So I want to give you a quick overview of the program as I was given. So don't fault me. I won't be long. So it says the global COVID-19 pandemic has adversely affected many of the factors of economic activity across various sectors in Jamaica. Tourism is one such sector, currently experiencing devastating declines in visitor arrivals. This was evidenced in a UNWTO report period March to December 2020. These declines continued into 2021. The importance of this sector and its growth and development of Jamaica mandates an effective and sustainable solution towards a safe restart to the industry. Further analysis: since the start of COVID-19, so where many tourist workers in many countries around the world have articulated several, and I repeat, several mental health challenges such as stress, anxiety, mental confusion, social deprivation, and depression. This includes tourism workers in Jamaica. A recent study commissioned by the Ministry of Tourism highlighted a growing expression of stress, anxiety, mental confusion, social deprivation, depression, all these mental factors affecting tourism workers in Jamaica. And as a result, there is this look now at the state of mind of the workers in tourism and whether or not they will be able to produce their work efficiently and with the right tools that they would have given to ensure that we sell the best tourism product to the world. Now, mental health and well-being is a topic that's often overlooked in Jamaica. Yes, it's tabooed, and in our local work environment, it is not something that we talk about a lot. So we have seen where this partnership is the first step in improving the mental health and well-being in the workplace of tourism and with the workforce of tourism workers. Now, I have said enough, and I think I've been talking for at least 5 minutes. So my voice is not the voice you came here to hear. It's the voice of those who are the experts in tourism, the experts in counseling and psychology, the experts that will tell you what exactly this program will entail and what benefit it will give to those who will be receiving this type of counseling support from the network that we're forming here. Now, you'd have seen 4 people here. They are definitely more learned than I, and they all have different roles, responsibilities, and they're sitting at the table for one reason or the other. And I'll call on a few of them, or all of them for that matter, and you'll hear from them individually. I want to apologize on behalf of the minister who had to rush to the incoming president that would have landed a bit early, had to rush there. He was supposed to be here, so his apologies were sent. And I'm continuing the program where we'll have the greetings from the chair of the Health and Wellness Network, Mr. Kyle Mays. Give him a round of applause, please, everybody.
Learning the hard way, by the way, not scholarly like some of us in here. Most of us in here, actually. Well, thank you, Sandre. Thank you, great. with an accent. Dr. Kerry Wallace, Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Mrs. Carolyn McDonald-Riley, our hard-working Executive Director for the Tourism Linkages Network. Professor Waller, for his broaching the subject. That is a big reason why we're here today. Professors, presenters, distinguished guests, members of the media, colleagues, it is my pleasure and honor to invite you all to talk your mind. Let me hear it one more time. Talk your mind. That's what it's about. So as chairman of the Health and Wellness Linkages Committee, it's a proud moment for me to be actually standing here after the 2 years that we've all had to endure, and leading the charge in what I'm sure you will agree is an extremely important time for the health and wellness of not only the industry, but our nation here in Jamaica, land we love. The team and I have been working assiduously this year with the private and public entities to primarily address the new norms resulting from the pandemic in the form of significant research, projects and programs to develop awareness and innovation, developing standards, protocols, and finally, best practices while keeping in mind the well-being of our industry's workers and practitioners. It is no secret that COVID has wreaked havoc on our industry, on our livelihoods, on our health, on our minds. And as we endeavor to recover, there's no better time for the conversation we're having today, and indeed to expand the discussion that health and wellness is not limited or restricted to just pampering, dieting, exercising, but what we must also include is the mental, the psychological, the emotional, which is also a big part of the bigger picture. After all, our health is in fact our wealth. Our communities, our households, our nation relies on our hand in hand to overcome the challenges of COVID and see health and wellness tourism as a new dawn where we can achieve much of what we want, not only financially and for our tourism businesses, but also for its people, for both their health, physical and mental. So remember, talk your mind, very important, and as you will learn all the reasons behind that. So thank you for joining us today, and we'll hand back to Sandra.
All right, yeah, let's hear the round of applause. Yes, yes. I like it. Short, succinct, and impactful. That's the type of greetings that we like, yes? And I want to thank Mr. Mays for bringing greetings to us this afternoon. And yeah, I realize a lot of us here, and we don't really want to talk on mind. So when he said talk in mind, it's just him talking to himself. So we try it again. So after 3, 1, 2, 3, talk, yeah. All right, good. I like it. So we're moving along nicely, and Professor Wendell Abel will be the one that will be presenting to us. I'm not sure if you have a PowerPoint. Yeah, okay, he has a PowerPoint, so that means it will be a very engaging presentation. He's a consultant psychiatrist and therapist with many, many years of experience. And boy, if I need somebody to talk to after this, Prof, you know, I might have to give you a call, all right? To talk my mind. All right, so I turn it over to Professor Wendell Abel.
Good afternoon, everyone. Certainly a pleasure being asked to share with us this afternoon, and I emphasize the word share. I'm also mindful that Professor Waller told me I should not go beyond 10 minutes, so I'll try to manage my time. Okay, all right, so, today is about the launch of this fantastic program, Talk Your Mind, which is a counseling and support program for tourism workers. And, when it was conceived, I said, it's an excellent program because, the workers in tourism, it's because I'm short, dark, handsome. The workers in tourism, are really the blood, the lifeline of the economy, yes? And as you heard earlier, that the tourism industry worldwide took a blow, yes? But, despite that, somehow they managed in Jamaica to have kept services going, and we have to commend them. But, and we should just pause and just give them a round of applause, everybody, yes. Without them, our salaries can't be paid, right? It's a lifeline of the economy. So we have to congratulate the Tourism Enhancement Fund for supporting this wonderful initiative, Professor Waller and team, and everybody who's been involved. It's the second time I'm involved in a mental health program funded by Tourism Enhancement Fund many years ago, just after the street people fiasco in Montego Bay. They actually jumped in and supported the program. So it's a program that I know is well aligned to mental health care. So thanks again, wonderful work. But, the reason we're here today is to really reflect on the COVID pandemic. And, in 2020, a team of us from the university had actually gone out in the field to find out how are people doing. And 55% of people are saying we're depressed, we're having depressive symptoms. Another 55% of people say we're having anxiety symptoms. And 97%, which is almost everybody, said we need psychosocial support, right? So this program is well advised, yes? And we know the impact of 2 years of the COVID pandemic in terms of the stress on our brain. It has created a lot of problems, right? And maybe at this point in time, I just highlight some of the mental health problems quickly. I mentioned the anxiety, the depression has been a big one. In fact, recently, firstly, in my 30-odd years of practice, I've never had to treat as many persons with depression. And one day, a newspaper contacted me, and it was a rough day, and all I could say to them is depression, depression, depression. So every now and then, people see me on the road, they say depression, depression, depression. But it just speaks to the range of mental health problems people have been experiencing, the stress, the anxiety, the depression, bereavement, the grieving, because of the grieving. Throughout COVID, we all lost something. Our routine, our job, for some people away from job, children not going to school, not being able to travel, people have died, right? And a lot of people have been grieving, even without realizing it. That's why it's so important for us to what? Talk your what? Everybody repeat that. Talk your mind. Because sometimes we don't even know what is happening to us. Common problem we saw were people with sleep disturbances, getting up 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock. Some people have been so traumatized that they've developed post-traumatic stress disorder and depression, a big one. Increase in suicidal thought. Seeing a lot of people presented with severe depression and just suicidal thinking. Fortunately for us as a country, we've not seen an increase in the number of suicide. And it's because Jamaica historically has had a low suicide rate, and I hope it continues like that. And certainly a program like this will prevent that, yes? That the people who are severely depressed and suicidal, having suicidal thought, will be able to get them to talk up their mind, right? And to prevent it going on to unfortunate outcomes. So as I say, grieving, if any of us in here are grieving, just remember grieving is a normal and natural response, yes? A lot of people don't even realize this is a big one. A lot of people have suffered from what we call compassion fatigue. The working mother who had to be taken care of, her parents, grandparents, and the children, they'll tell you that they're overwhelmed. The caregivers, the psychologists, Dr. Johnson and team, seeing many patients and counseling people, our healthcare workers who we also need to just give them a round of applause, who have done a fantastic job. Lots of people, even without knowing it, are suffering. People in the tourist industry, because it's not only about doing the laundry and serving and that sort of thing, but they also interface with the tourists and who come with their problems, yes, who have experienced death in their family, and we also have to reach out to them. And so people in the industry are also at risk of experiencing compassion fatigue. And I just want to shift just quickly to depression because it's a very common disorder, probably one of the most common medical condition. It says that, and this is before pandemic, 20% of females get depressed. So I want you to look at the person next to you, right? And to your right, to your left, in front, behind, right? 1 in 5, let's say 1 in 5. Right? But it's female, and I know, yeah? But 1 in 5 female get depressed, and 1 in 10 males. And you know something? When the males get depressed, where do they go? To the bar. And when the females get depressed, where they go? Huh? To the where? to church, right? To church. But both of them are searching for spirits, you know. Anyway. And it's a good one, right? But, you know, again, before the pandemic, you know, there was a famous study done, Global Burden of Disease, which indicated at the time depression was a major public health problem, and it's the 4th leading cause of disease burden, right? And it is so much more now, right? And despite that reality that depression is so common, only 56% of people, right, with severe depression receive treatment, which means that there's a wide, what we call, treatment gap. So before the pandemic, and even more so now, it's associated with high burden and a wide treatment gap. And one of the challenges we face is that why is it that people not getting adequate treatment? Lack of available resources. Before the pandemic, if you think our health services were overwhelmed, well, I tell you, it's even more so now. Long waiting lists. So if a worker in Hanover, for example, is depressed and so on, and probably needs to go to a government health center, chances are they're going to have a long waiting list, yes? And of course, in our society, people don't seek treatment because of the stigma and shame. And so we need to bridge that gap, yes, between the fact that there's a high burden and not many people getting treatment. And I paraphrase it, but it's Talk Your Mind, right? It's a program intended to bridge that gap and to provide support for workers in tourism and their families, because that will have an extended effect. And it's a collaborative program. I don't need to go through all of that. It's a great program to provide counseling and support, and of course to reduce the barrier and to reduce the stigma, the silence, and the shame. And I just want to just say quickly, you know, just for those of us who are here, give you 4 quick tips, right, to deal with the anxiety and the mental health issues. I know the psychologists will take people through it, but first, talk your mind. You must share your feelings, and I want everybody to repeat it. Name it, claim it, and tame it. Name it, claim it, and tame it. Part of your talk your mind process, right? Another thing, you know, all of us, we've gone through rough times, tough times, and we have to be compassionate with ourselves. It's been 2 tough years. You know, when I see the young people come to me and they're stressed out, I have to just remind them, the working mothers, older people, head of households, I have to just say, look, you've done your best. And so another tip I'm going to share with you is what I call do the butterfly hug. Everybody, take your right hand, put on your left shoulder, left hand, put on your right shoulder, and just tap yourself on the shoulder. You say, oh, you're smiling even behind your mask? Just be compassionate with yourself. Every now and then you just have to remind yourself that, boy, I've done my best. Very, very best, right? And another quick tip that will take us through. That is why you have to people have to tune into this program, you know, because they'll be sharing a lot of great tips with us, right? It's deep breathing exercise. When you go to bed and you find that it's just difficult after a day's work and the thoughts just going through your mind and you want to get to sleep, do your deep breathing exercise. It works all the time. So quickly, everybody, you're going to pay me for all of these tips, you know. You know that? Yes? But that's why we all should participate in this wonderful program. So wherever you are, just sit where you are and just quickly just breathe in gently through your nostril. Hold your breath. Breathe out. Don't blow anybody down, right? Breathe out. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. It's just a quick one we're doing with you. But how does it feel? Doesn't it make you feel relaxed? Yes, yes. But this is just the wonders of counseling and therapy and so on. I see some of you shaking your head, right? You need to practice it more. But full program, and I trust and hope that the workers in tourism who we love, we admire, and we care for will use this program to its maximum. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, I expected a little louder round of applause for Professor Wendell Abe just now. I don't know, but it's either that or you're all going to take out your checkbooks and give him some checks for his free advice and butterfly hugs. All right, so we're moving nicely with the program right now. We're going to invite Dr. Johnson. I was there in the virtual space. I was going to say in spirit, but I was there online. And yeah, she would have spoken to them, so now she's going to introduce, not all of them are here, but she'll introduce the ones that are here. Go ahead, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished, we need to adjust the mic. Distinguished guests, colleagues, students, advanced graduate students, my clinical associate psychology colleagues, members of the media. Welcome, good afternoon. I want to say that when Prof. Waller and Professor Abel told me about this program, I was really excited. They asked me if I could identify people who could assist with the counseling aspect of this. And I quickly thought of some names. Our clinical psychology program has been going on for 20 years at UWI. And so I have I have a huge data bank of potential experts. One of the things that I truly appreciated is that everybody that I thought about and contacted said yes. And although some of them are not here today, I want to say that I really, really appreciate your commitment and your continued desire to address and help and support the mental health of Jamaicans. And so I'm just going to go ahead and state the names of the 10 people who decided that they were going to come on board initially. And as I say your name, for those of you who are here, just stand up so the rest of us can see who you are. And so I'm going to start with Chantel Anderson. Could you stand up and let everybody see you, Chantel? Thank you, Chantel. And then we have Angelith James. Could you stand up for us, Angel? And then we have Jody Ann Stewart. Junille McLean Henry. Nikisha Prasad, I know she isn't here. Jody Marie Hastings isn't here. Cheryl Cohen isn't here. Zonia Rodney isn't here. Delicia Wisdom, I see you. And Ronald Clark had something come up at the last minute. Thank you all for agreeing to do this. Each person that I have introduced, they're either clinical psychology associates or counseling psychology. Our focus, their expertise, is with brief psychotherapy / counseling, crisis intervention, and we hope to use our skills and our experiences to assist workers in the tourism sector. Thank you so much, and thanks again, colleagues.
All righty, can I hear another round of applause for our counselors who are here? I would ask them to stand again, but you know, just stand again so that everybody can see the ones who are here. I give them a round of applause. Yes, we see them, and we're grateful to the 10, the chosen few who they would have agreed to become a part of this program. We have on the program Minister's Address, but as I told you before, the apologies were sent, but to my right, there is a gentleman that has a very big hand in this program. He is the executive director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, and he's none other than Dr. Kerry Wallace. Give him a round of applause as he shares his remarks.
So thank you, Master of Ceremonies Sandri, Chairman Kyle Mays, Professor Wendell Abel, Dr. Rose Johnson, Dr. Gavin Daly. I'm going to single out Carolyn McDonald-Riley as well, and the rest of the linkages team that are here. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Waller, how could I leave you out? As was said earlier, Minister had to be called away prematurely for the meeting with the President of Rwanda, who we are pleased to host here in Jamaica. And as such, I've been asked to convey both his apologies and his address for this function. My own comments are that, boy, it's quite pleasing to partner with the UWI, such a noble institution, in establishing this program. I'm pleased with the performance of the Tourism Linkages Network, in particular the Health and Wellness Network, chaired by Kyle Mays, in initiating and putting this project on. You know, as the #1 industry in Jamaica, and I'm not saying that to brag, but just saying it so that you know we recognize a responsibility that's on our shoulders in tourism to lead the charge in creating a kind of Jamaica that operates in a caring manner, caring for our stakeholders in the industry, our team members in the industry. We are a ministry that invests in them. We have an outstanding certification program that ensures that the skill set that we generate for our industries is of global standards. We have the linkages program that facilitates our local producers to supply the tourism sector so that the tourism dollar that comes in to Jamaica is spread far and wide into the local economy. So there are 5 networks: shopping, health and wellness, that's represented here today. There's gastronomy. There is sports and entertainment, and knowledge. So these 5 networks have what is extremely important, which is the partnership of the private sector stakeholders. So we're not just sitting there in our government offices thinking that we know all the answers by ourselves. We partner with private sector, and they volunteer their time. Kyle Mays is here 100% on a voluntary basis. And he's out of private sector. And in the North Coast as well, so it's costing him to drive in, you know. So we are fortunate as an industry to have partnered with all these private sector experts with our linkages programs. I mean, it's chaired, the linkages council is chaired by Adam Stewart, who has the Sandals chains and ATL and so on. Busy man. Yet he spent the time out for that. All of the networks, not only is it just private sector, but it's private sector experts in the particular areas. So let's say the working groups. I mentioned the networks, but there are two working groups as well, manufacturing and agriculture. We would have the president of the JMEA sit on the Tourism Linkages Council. So that partnership has yielded enormous fruits, this being one of them, this project being one of them. And I would encourage other ministries to emulate that pattern of that level of partnership, integrating private sector with the government sector to establish programs that are 100% guaranteed then to be what is effective in the society, in the industries. In this case, we are also partnering with the UWI, academia, which is so crucial. If we can get the research and knowledge to guide the decisions in what we implement in our industry, then we're bound to have another win. And so today I want us to really resonate with this collaboration, because it's the reason why, certainly from a tourism industry standpoint, that we are batting so much above our weight class. Jamaica's tourism's recovery since COVID is second in the entire planet, second to Dominican Republic. Could never have been done without the level of collaboration. In fact, the way we managed through the pandemic is because of that kind of close collaboration. And thankfully, technology really, really allowed for a lot of that to happen. I mean, the amount of meetings that I've had, two or three devices open because I'm in three different meetings because of it. But that's the kind of access that technology provided for us that allowed us to collaborate phenomenally and carry us forward. So it's one thing to go from back to level. It's another thing to take those same key advantages that we just described, the collaboration, the technology, the academia, partnerships, to push us forward. Because as an industry, we have the greatest propensity for growth. When you think of all our other industries in Jamaica, construction, thankfully, did well during COVID and kept Jamaica's GDP strong. Bauxite, decent, sometimes goes, but agriculture, sugar, I don't know, something. All of them, you don't think of them as, competing in the top 10 on a global level. The only ones, the brands that we have that are in the top 10 in the world are our sprint athletes, our music, and as far as an industry is concerned, is tourism. No wonder our minister was just inducted in the top 50 global icons of travel and tourism. That was just yesterday. So in tourism, we feel that weight of responsibility, being stewards of that industry, to ensure that we use it to transform the fortunes of Jamaica, to in plain language, make Jamaica a first world nation. We are a developing nation. We need industries to grow in order to expand the GDP to per person rate. Who knows our GDP per capita now? We're at 4,700 and something, under 5,000. Who knows what the average first world developed country's GDP is? It's about 40,000 US dollars per capita per person. So, 40,000 about 6 million. 40,000 about 6 million Jamaican at 150 per annum. So basically, if you want to get to develop, that means the average Jamaican must be earning 6 million. So I know to Professor Abel that's chump change to it. but they are the ones who are making a lot. there are those who are not making, so it's the average that has to get to 6 billion. And at that stage, the kind of taxes that are being paid affords the government the kind of money to have all our roads fixed properly, like First Road, well stocked, and pay our teachers and our police officers. All our police officers will have their own vehicles and so on. That, when we travel to first world countries and see the standards that they have there, pretty much we'd be able to have it there. I'm not necessarily saying a concrete jungle or anything, but just the amenities, the facilities, the infrastructure, those kind of things that, that we deserve. We really deserve to have those things. So I'll get to this another tourism industry. And here we are now in a situation where the impact of that, I want to say damage, but that's probably too strong a word, has created challenges that may linger if we don't intervene. And the mental health challenges are one such. We saw the figures about the depression rates. I mean, when you do a survey and you have a feedback coming back saying 97% is saying they want something, then every scientist anywhere on this planet knows that they have to, you can't have a clearer indication. The good thing is that the research shows that if international mobility and travel are resumed by June this year, that the 62 million jobs that were lost in 2020 could return by the end of 2022. So that's the opportunity we have in front of us, that yes, Jamaica is recovering more than the average country out there. We're second in that race. And based on that, psychological and counseling interventions, and we are therefore pleased that this program is being launched today. I've looked at the team of youngsters, and I feel confident that as Jamaicans we will solve our own problems. You know, I'm fortunate to have studied here with my first degree, and I'm fortunate to have studied abroad, both in the US and the UK as well. I have a PhD in social psychology as well too. So, you know, as I was sitting there, I came in big and bold in my tourism hat, and I started leaning more and more and more into my psychology, my psychology hat. But so I'm pleased that we're in good hands as far as the experts in that field here who will carry out this program with sincerity, with keen interest in making sure the outcomes are what we have targeted. You know, it's this country, for that development to a first world nation that I speak about, it really can be had if we collaborate a lot more. Attitude is that we are shoulder to shoulder, holding hands and moving this country forward. And so we all are excited gathering around the TV, watching the Usain Bolts and the Shelley Frasers and so on in the Olympics. And we expect them to perform to their best, to their utmost, on behalf of us. Right? And that's their job, that's their role as athletes, and they want to accomplish that. But we expect them to do it on our behalf. Want to accomplish that. But we expect them to do it on our behalf. Now, each of us here have a role in the society as we advance Jamaica. And so if you are the one fixing a road, when you shortcut that job and pocket most of the money and give you a little thin layer of asphalt and so on, who is depending on you to be a superstar in your turf. On behalf of Jamaica, and that's kind of collaboration that we need. Our history has not allowed us to be conditioned that way. We ended up thinking, boys, we're in this world alone, and it's every man for themselves kind of thing. But if we can cultivate that partnership, that will make us, with our little space, when we work in it, it is of first world standards. and the next person does that, and they intersect, that's when collectively we will take this country to that level. And especially the youngsters, as I look at you, I want you to feel that responsibility. Remember, you know, who is the universe asking to transform Jamaica? Who should Jamaicans past, present, and future depend on for Jamaica to become a developed country? Which set? I mean, we had the previous 4 parents who fought for the abolition of slavery, the Sam Sharps, and they were killed in their while fighting for it, Paul Bogle and those guys. And yes, we are physically free, but when shall we become economically free, where our principles can prevail regardless, because we're not stressed about where our next meal is coming from? And thankfully, we have the resources to do that. We have the ingredients to do that. The natural beauty of the country, the natural assets of the country, the cultural assets of the country, the people of the country. We have the assets to do it. It's making the pie. It's mixing the ingredients together. It's that collaboration that we need to take us there. And so the ask, I believe, of the persons to make this transformation, most of us are represented here in this room. In any nation, who are you asking to build that nation? Are you going to ask the kids? No. You're going to ask the elderly? Not necessarily. They can give advice, yes, but are we going to ask the uneducated? They can play a role, but you see where I'm narrowing it down here? The responsibility is lying more and more on our shoulders to make that transformation. So I hope I haven't scared you too much, but just put some responsibility on your shoulders. I know when I was your age and so on, I probably wasn't thinking more of transforming Jamaica. I was probably thinking more about transforming my bank account. But the two can go hand in hand, and you'll be amazed at your influence now with technology, with social media and so on, and how much Jamaica currently is crying out for solutions. You see the crime rates, you see the stabbing in schools, you see all these things are really loud cries, for solutions, for collaboration, for softer interventions, for respect of each other, for a reduction in the harshness that is this Jamaica, where you almost have to be rough and tough and strong out there. You want a Jamaica where it's not regulatory and you have to fight against the system, but it's facilitatory, where the system assists you going up. All right, so I'm going to go into some of the minister's address, as I really should have. I hope I have a job when I go when I go back to the office. So our research shows that since the start of COVID-19, many tourism workers worldwide articulated several mental health challenges, such as stress, anxiety, mental confusion, social deprivation, and depression. And that was the global tourism workers, but we also noticed that pattern here in Jamaica as well. And there's no doubt that that state of mind, it would affect productivity, would affect efficiencies, would affect job satisfaction. And it can manifest in the form of self-harm and harm to others. So recognizing the importance of the tourism sector to the development of Jamaica, we created this project, Talk Your Mind, with the goal of implementing concrete solutions to address the growing mental health concerns among Jamaican workers. I'm therefore very pleased to be here today to welcome yet another innovative product from the Tourism Linkages Network, specifically the Health and Wellness Network, the Talk Your Mind, counseling support for tourism workers. The goals of this program are to undertake an assessment of the location of psychologists and counselors within the popular Jamaican tourism parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew, Portland, St. Anne, St. Mary, Falmouth, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and Manchester. To engage psychologists and counselors in providing counseling solutions for tourism workers. To undertake an education and social awareness campaign in the aforementioned tourism parishes that will raise awareness amongst tourism workers regarding whom to contact if they believe they are dealing with COVID-19 related mental health issues, such as stress, anxiety, mental confusion, social deprivation, and depression. We'll also continue our efforts to offer health and wellness support to our workers through our vaccination program. Our Tourism Vaccination Task Force, which was formed to facilitate the vaccination of all tourism employees across the island through our Tourism Worker Vaccination Initiative, is ably co-chaired by our Permanent Secretary, Jennifer Griffith, and Clifton Reeder, who is the president of the JHTA, the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association. They have been collaborating with the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, and a number of tourism stakeholders, both public and private, to streamline and expedite the vaccination of tourism workers. So I'm pleased to inform you that the vaccination rate amongst tourism workers is more than double the national average, with over 70% of our tourism workforce and their families being vaccinated. Our goal is to ensure that all 170,000 tourism employees are vaccinated and protected against the dangers of catching the deadly virus. And this will help with the sector's full recovery. So in concluding, safety, security, and seamlessness underpins a sense of well-being of visitors crossing borders and the tourism workers that interact with them daily. So it is our responsibility as a destination to ensure the well-being of all tourism stakeholders is secure. I commend the Linkages Network, headed by Carolyn McDonald-Riley, as well as the Health and Wellness Network, headed by Kyle Mays, for their leadership in creating an effective governance framework to enhance the wellness of our tourism workers in this regard. I also thank our partners for their efforts in making this a successful project and look forward to the success stories from this event. Thank you, and all the best.
All right, can I get another round of applause for Dr. Kerry Wallace, the Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund? You know what I took away from that presentation, Prof. Waller? That I can transform my bank account while transforming Jamaica. Yeah, I know somebody would have picked up that part. So we are happy to hear the presentation so far, and we're skipping out the signing of the council's contract based on all councils not being here presently with us, but you know, Dr. Gavin Daly is with us. Give him a round of applause as he sits there as one of the major persons from the Center of Leadership and Governance at the University of the West Indies Mona campus. Right now, we have something interesting. We have the website that we have developed. It's right behind you. It's on the screens, and for those virtually, I'm sure you guys will be seeing it. Now, this website, if we can just scroll down on it a bit to show what's happening on the website. This website will be used as the main portal to engage tourism workers. It will be a part of what we'd have as a massive campaign to use the website to engage with tourism workers and also to provide critical advice as it relates to mental health and well-being and the different issues that we'd have listed before. As you can see there are the counselors, and we have more things going up on that website. So when the initiative is pushed to that point, we'll have everything, and the tourism workers can engage mainly through this site. Now, the hope of the visionaries that would have come together for this project is to ensure that this project can lead the way into us going to this new age of focusing on mental health and well-being in Jamaica. So this project is not just for tourism, but we're looking at the possibilities of this project moving beyond the realms of tourism and launching into this new age, this new dawn of individuals across Jamaica, different ministries, MDAs, even private sector, focusing more on mental health, because mental health really matters, because everybody needs to talk. All right, you guys are here. So now I think we are basically at the end. So I'll have to give some thanks as they come in. As we see everybody here, there are a number of individuals here. I'd like to thank all those who are on the program. I'd like to thank those who are graciously in the audience. Give yourself a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause. Yeah. Yes. Yes, you guys did well. You guys did well. At first, I thought I was talking to myself, but you guys showed up. Yes, you guys showed up. You showed out, and I feel all the better for it. So we'd like to thank Mr. Kyle Mace, Chairman of the Health and Wellness Network. Give him a round of applause as he is here. We'd like to also thank Professor Wendell Abel for his presentation. Though free, I would have taken a little bit of nuggets away from it. Give him a round of applause as well. Yes, we'd like to thank Dr. Rose Johnson, who came and she spoke and introduced us to the councillors. Give her a round of applause as well. Right, we'd like to thank Dr. Kerry Wallace, who would have spoken from his perspective about how I can transform my bank account and Jamaica at the same time, and also the minister's address. Give him a round of applause as well. And sitting over there in the front, is it doctor anymore? No, man, it's Professor Lloyd George Waller. Give him a round of applause. He's the one of the minds behind this, and the project manager who we see here sitting at the front as well, Dr. Gavin Daly. Give him a round of applause as well. And behind the scenes, we have a lady who is over there being technical, even though I know her as a lecturer, Dr. Shanique Walters. Give her a round of applause as well. And last but not least, very important, the councillors who would have taken up this mantle at such an important point in our transformation of tourism to get back into this new normal, as we'll call it. Give them a round of applause as well. All right. And, I'm happy that everybody's here. I think I'm missing out one person. Is it Dr. Caroline McDonald Riley? Oh, give her a round of applause as well. You see, I have to. It's whatever my bosses give me. So don't cut off my head. I leave it with them. So thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for listening to the presentations, both physically and virtually. It was indeed a good afternoon, and we'd have had different presentations. We'd have learned a lot. I would have learned a lot. Listen, I don't have tourism hats and psychology hats like Dr. Wallace, but what I can say is that I would have gotten some form of a hat from the presentations that I would have heard today. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for making it Talk Your Mind, Counseling Support for Tourism Workers. I am Sondre Roden, SANDRE with an accent over the E. Have a good rest of your afternoon.